Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leisrealtalk. It's Thursday. The weekend is right around the corner. I hope your week has been good so far. Let's talk about who Xi Jinping fears the most. I already give you the answer, so you know, you know who that person is. I want to show you the ultimate reason why Xi Jinping feared Zhang Youxia, and I think I can convince you. But stay until the end. I have a very compelling reason to show you. Uh, but let's first talk about you know how this came to be, right? This topic. So Xi Jinping, he does not fear Joe Biden. He does not fear William Lai, the newly elected president in Taiwan, but he fears one of his own officials or officers. And that person is, in case you don't know who Zhang Youxia is, he is the vice chairman, the first vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, the highest ranking PLA general. Now, when Russian mercenary chief, what's his name, Evgeny Prigozhin, when his plane was shot down last August, some Chinese called General Zhang Xi Jinping's Prigozhin. Actually, Xi and Zhang were once friends, or their fathers were friends. They were very close, but their relationships have soured since the downfall of the former defense minister Li Shangfu. Now, yesterday, I heard a rumor or news that Zhang has been detained by Xi Jinping. And we're going to discuss how likely is that. And if so, what could be the reason behind Xi Jinping's fear of Zhang? So let me first tell you about what I learned yesterday, the rumor. So let me actually this picture. Yeah, here's the dynamic duels. So here's Zhang Youxia looking sad. Okay, so here is a Chinese political analyst, Yuan Jian. He released this exclusive information yesterday on his YouTube channel. It's called Yuan Jian Kuaiping. I provided the link. I think I provided the link in the description. And he said that Zhang Youxia has been under control, 内部控制, which really means detained, since the end of April. And his detainment is related to former Defense Minister Li Shangfu's case. And what he said was that during Li's interrogation, he named 17 other senior PLA leaders, and Zhang was one of them. And this YouTuber said that the information has been released to CCP's high-ranking officials, and his source in China saw the document that talked about this. His contact could read it but couldn't take pictures of the document. Now, he also said that the information that his source has disclosed previously has been reliable. Now, this political analyst is not known for major exposés or disclosures, but he has a very good analytical approach to CCP information or rumors. That's why I paid attention to what he said. And he said he couldn't verify the info, but what he did first was to find out when Zhang Youxia appeared last in public. And it turned out to be April 22nd. So on April 22nd, he gave a keynote speech at the opening ceremony of the 19th annual meeting of the Western Pacific Naval Symposium, or WPNS. That meeting was in Qingdao, Shandong. And it's been more than 5.5 weeks since he was last seen in public. The rumor that Zhang was detained first appeared last September, shortly after Prigozhin's air crash. People discussed, at the time, it was funny. People discussed who Xi Jinping's Prigozhin would be, and they named Zhang Youxia. At the time, Li Shangfu was already missing in action. Um, Now, people didn't believe that Xi Jinping would remove Li Shangfu purely based on his financial corruption. There had to be other reasons. And at the time, the rumors were saying that it was because he was not loyal. He was considered a two-faced person. And the rumors tied Zhang Youxia to Li Shangfu. And the rumors also said that Li Shangfu named 17 officials. Now, all of this seemed to match what we heard yesterday. Um, However, since the rumors started last September, Zhang Youxia has appeared at least once every month in public, sort of, showing his followers or his supporters that he's still okay. But since this 5.5 week absence, which is more than a month, it's almost like 1.5 months, that seemed a little long. So if he doesn't appear for another week, I think he has most likely lost his freedom. So we'll watch and see. Okay, so now before we answer the question why Xi Jinping fears him the most, okay, I mean this is what I heard yesterday, that he's possibly detained by Xi Jinping, prompted this entire discussion about why Xi Jinping fears him the most. Let's first talk about their relationship. Zhang is a princeling. Let me show you a picture of the guy. Let me stay on this picture. He's a princeling, and this picture is better. Maybe this picture. So he's a princeling, and the only high-ranking princeling in CCP's top leadership, since most of them have already been retired by Xi Jinping. Zhang is the son of a founding general of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. Zhang Youxia and his father are celebrated as one of the two pairs of father and son generals in the PLA. Xi Jinping's relations with Zhang were built upon their father's friendship during the revolution when they fought together. That naturally made Xi Jinping trust General Zhang more than any other PLA leaders. When she first came to power, General Zhang helped him take down opponents in the military. For the past 12 plus years, Zhang has been Xi's most important ally in the PLA. At the 20th Party Congress, General Zhang was, I think, 72 years old, and has way past CCP's retirement age of 68. But Xi Jinping kept him on the leadership team because no one could replace Zhang Youxia in the PLA. So Zhang's troubles began since the former defense minister Li Shangfu's removal. The relations between the two have strained. Now, Li Shangfu was a former subordinate of Zhang, and she promoted Li to the post of defense minister at the cost of upsetting the Americans, because Li was or is sanctioned by the Americans. So take down Li just because of financial corruption doesn't justify it. So his real problem, like I said earlier, according to those rumors, was that he was perceived as a two-faced person, or he was two-faced politically, right? He was showing his loyalty in front of Xi Jinping and saying otherwise behind him. Although Zhang Youxia kept showing himself up at public events to dispel the rumors that he was in trouble, there were clear signs that he was sidelined. At a Politburo meeting last September, Zhang Youxia was pictured sitting in a corner, while the other vice chairman, He Weidong, who's supposed to rank below Zhang sat in a more prominent position. In Chinese politics, seating positions are significant indications of the person's status. And on January 16th, Zhang appeared at a high-level CCP meeting, and he was sandwiched between his rival, the other vice chairman, He Weidong, and Xi Jinping's spy chief, Chen Wenqing. While Xi Jinping was given a speech at the podium, Zhang looked so upset at Xi Jinping. Right? Other people looked down or was taking notes, but he looked at Xi Jinping. He looked at the podium. He didn't look like a happy camper at all. And then on February 8th, People's Daily changed the order of the two vice chairmen in its report and placed Zhang Youxia after He Weidong when reporting the two vice chairmen's activities during the New Year when they inspected the troops in Beijing. So it was very obvious that Xi Jinping has sidelined Zhang but was hesitant to remove him due to his influence in the PLA. Now, however, Xi Jinping doesn't seem to have this concern anymore. If the rumor we heard yesterday is true. We don't know what helped Xi Jinping make up his mind, but another source of information certainly can explain it. A while ago, Chinese dissident Yuan Hongbin had said that Zhang Youxia has private connections with influential princelings like General Liu Yuan, the son of Liu Shaoqi, and Hu Deping, the son of former CCP Secretary General. And these are considered the heavyweight princelings. I did a couple of programs to discuss how the princelings are getting organized to oppose Xi. So, according to Professor Yuan, Xi Jinping had grown suspicious of Zhang after the princelings formed a consensus to oppose Xi's authoritarian rule. And Xi Jinping allegedly asked Zhang Youxia to persuade Liu Yuan and others to publicly denounce this consensus, right? But so far, nobody has done so. So nobody has done it. This must have put Zhang Youxia in a very precarious position. I think Xi Jinping, because of that, Xi Jinping must be suspicious of Zhang's loyalty to him. Zhang is also one of the very few PLA leaders with actual combat experience. He fought in the Sino-Vietnamese War. So if you look at his background, his father is a celebrated Chinese general. People familiar with the PLA say that his influence in the Chinese military is greater than Xi Jinping's influence. When Xi Jinping and Zhang attended the Lunar New Year performance held for retired military leaders in late January, some retired officers did not salute Xi, but saluted Zhang. Some overseas analysts pointed this out in the CCTV footage, and CCTV later cut out this part of the footage from its report. So all of the above spell troubles for Zhang. His war experience and abilities, his connections with other princelings, his status and prestige and influence in the PLA, and his implication in the Li Shangfu's case all make Xi Jinping feel very suspicious of him. However, there's one contributing factor that makes Zhang Youxia Xi Jinping's biggest fear, or there's one contributing factor that makes Xi Jinping feel threatened by Zhang Youxia, and it has to do with prophecies and Xi Jinping's belief in them. Now, Xi Jinping's belief in feng shui and supernatural forces has been explained before in my other programs. It's evident in some of his projects, such as the Xiong'an, the building of the second capital city, Xiong'an, and the construction of his father's mausoleum. You can check my program. I think it was from May 2023. It was May 7th from 2023. But what matters now is his worry about a couple of old Chinese prophecies related to him. There's a prophecy that predicted the end of the CCP. I told you about the CCP prophecy. There's one prophecy that showed 5 birds flying towards, by next to the mountains, 4 blackbirds and 1 white bird. The four blackbirds flew by, and then the 1 white bird, crashed onto the mountain peak and shed blood. And that picture supposedly, that prophecy book depicts every dynasty of China, and this picture supposedly depicts the last dynasty, which is the CCP, the Red Death dynasty. People didn't know what it meant until Xi Jinping, came to power, because Xi Jinping his name is associated with white feathered bird or white feather. So CCP has 5 leaders. He is the last one, and he's the white feathered bird, and he crashed on the mountain peak. So that was one prophecy, and this prophecy that I'm showing you is what matters here in this discussion. And this prophecy is very famous, and it's written by 2 renowned, famed astrologists from the Tang Dynasty, and it's called 推背图 or pushback diagram. Prophecies are. No, I'll talk about that later. Then let's talk about Zhang Youxia. Let's talk about Xi Jinping's fear first. Otherwise, I can go off. So the 46. So each page has an image, and then accompanied by some poetic lines that describe, the image and gives the prophecy. So the 46 image of this diagram has this warrior, and there's and the words reads like this. So it says there's a, maybe there was or there is, I don't know. There was a soldier. Well, maybe I should say there is. There is a soldier with a bow who pronounced or announced or uttered a white-headed man. White-headed man is generally believed to be Xi Jinping. Okay, I'll explain that to you. And then it says, he ambushed with a golden sword. Am I pronouncing this word right? Somebody correct my pronunciation. Sword. No pronounce of the word W. Sword. Okay. Okay, well, I thank the person who corrected me. If you are listening, sword, a golden sword. Okay, here we go. He ambushed with a golden sword at the east gate. The warrior entered the palace through the back door. Now, these 4 lines obviously described an assassin who's a warrior who has a bow, right? And also a weapon. And he entered the palace to stage a mutiny to take down the ruler. Because the prophecy also says, on the previous line, I'm translating it here in yellow. It says some like dark, murky clouds killing with, that doesn't matter. But what matters is no casualty, no death of 10,000 people, right? So no casualties of 10,000, but 1 man will not escape. So it sounds like it's everything targets at 1 person. And so people say this prophecy has gotten Xi Jinping so worried because it has his name in it. It mentioned a soldier with a weapon. Let me first tell you why Xi Jinping is so concerned, because I show you, it says Bai Tou Ong in the original poem. It says, I highlighted Bai Tou Ong, right? Bai Tou Ong means white-headed man. But if I analyze the words for you, so Bai Tou Ong if you look at the red circle and then the green circle in Bai Tou in the white-headed man, they are Xi. They are white feather. And white feather makes up the Chinese character in traditional font, Xi, the Xi in Xi Jinping. So that's why Xi Jinping is widely considered white feather man. So this white-headed man is Xi Jinping, right? So that's why Xi Jinping is so worried about this prophecy, because it has his name in it. But the question is, who is the warrior? Who is the warrior? That's what he has been thinking all these years. And here we have our protagonist coming, Zhang Youxia. I'll show you Zhang Youxia. And what happened to my image? Let me see. Can you guys see this? Did it mess up? It didn't mess. It didn't. I don't know. Sometimes it looks right in my PowerPoint, and when I show it, it just kind of all messed up. So, all right. So can I? Okay. So, Zhang, the name Zhang, the left part of his last name Zhang has a bow in it. Okay, and Xia means knight, or in Chinese you can mean a warrior. Yu means again or with or and. So here you go. Zhang Youxia's name is a knight, a warrior with a bow. So, and then the prophecy said, there was a soldier with a bow. Okay? So, that's why, you know, Xi Jinping fears Zhang Youxia the most, because his name perfectly fits that prophecy. You know, his name has a bow, his name has a warrior in it. I mean, it just, you know, given how much Xi Jinping believes in this, you know, kind of supernatural forces, he is, you know, he is seriously bothered. And if you don't believe me, if you think I'm just making up, because you know it's easy to take apart Chinese words and say, here's a bow, here's a warrior. I'm telling you, take a look at the names of two Chinese premier, Li Qiang and Li Keqiang. They both, the word qiang, both have a bow in it. It's that my circles are messed up. Sorry. But if you yeah, they don't line up. But qiang, if you look at the word, the left component of the character qiang is bow. It's the same as zhang, right? Zhang, the left part of Zhang Youxia's Zhang, also has a bow. So those of you who knows a little bit Chinese can appreciate that information. But no matter what, Li Qiang, the current and the past premier, both have a bow in their name. And that's why, you know, Li Qiang, even though he was appointed by Xi Jinping, has lost his power. He's not doing much. The guy, I mean, we talked, you know, a couple of times about how he has lost, even though he ranked number 2 in the Politburo, he doesn't have much power. And then Li Keqiang, we all know he died. So they say, well, that's why, because their names have a bow in it. Okay. So are you convinced? Shall we do a vote now? Even though we cannot confirm if, let me come back. All right, that's my Chinese lessons for the week. So even though we don't know if Zhang Youxia is detained, I think we can probably tell in a week or two. If he still hasn't come out in the public, that means something's going on. Because in the past couple of months, he has appeared at least once every month. So let's do a vote now. So how many of you believe that he's detained versus he's not? So if you vote 1 if you think he's yes, he's detained, and vote 2 if you think that's just a false alarm. Let's see what people say. And I'll give you guys some time to vote. Now, let's talk about the other two pieces of information that this YouTuber disclosed, which I think is very important and also very interesting. He said the second piece of important information was that Xi Jinping's preparation for the war against Taiwan has entered fast lane. Right, this matched with what I told you a couple of days ago. The same information shared by Professor Yuan. And so this person, what was disclosed yesterday, the person said that the preparation of war has entered fast lane, and one of the ongoing priorities for Xi Jinping is raising funds for the war. So that explained why China has been selling U.S. Treasury bonds, right? Large amounts of U.S. Treasury bonds. That's why China has been hoarding gold. So that's one piece of information. And the second piece of information is this. It says that Xi Jinping did Putin a big favor by aiding Russian oligarchs in transferring large amounts of assets from Europe to Hong Kong. And this effort was coordinated by China's National Security Commission and directly handled by the Ministry of Foreign Trade and Economic Cooperation. The Russians worried about their assets being sanctioned and frozen. So what they did was they first transferred their assets to to accounts held by private Chinese companies in Hong Kong. They then moved the money to other accounts in Hong Kong. So they first transferred them to private business accounts in Hong Kong. Then from there, they moved to other accounts owned by the Chinese. But although these accounts appear to be owned by the Chinese, they are actually controlled by the Russians. Actually, if you look at the 12,000 word agreement Putin signed with Xi Jinping when he was in China a couple of weeks ago, one of the clauses was saying that each country will protect each other's assets when they're in transit to be moved into their respective countries or while they're in transit, something like that. There was a clause that specifically said that. At the time, people noticed I was saying, well, that's probably because they're going to help each other, moving money around globally. So that's all I have. So let me see what people have voted. Can someone give me voting results? So let me. Why are you guys still voting? Let me. I don't know if Chris is here. Chris, are you here? So, I know among my audiences, I have people from the left and people from the right, and I'm trying to offer a bipartisan platform for people to learn about CCP politics and China and the Chinese politics. So I really want to welcome comments from either group. I mean, we could differ, we could have different opinions, but we should allow comments and discussions that represent views from both sides, as long as they are rationally expressed, right? So that's my my view of our community. So I have two I don't know what I call them, coordinators, not coordinators, moderators. I have two moderators. I think Chris is one, and then Sumilan is another. So I don't have time to follow all the discussions, but make sure you I first of all want to thank them for doing such a wonderful job, getting people organized and always being there for me. But I just want to make sure that everyone, as long as they're rational, and is I want everyone to feel welcomed here because that's my goal. All right, let me see the vote. Can anyone give me a update on the voting results? 88 think he's already removed and 12% think he's not. 89, well, it's increasing. How many votes do we already have? I just want to know the base. Maybe we should give it some time. Fractal art. Lei is an excellent job in her deep inspection of this important situation. We feel welcome. Oh, good, good, good. 136 votes. Okay, we can wait. 90% say yes. 90-10. Wow. Okay, we'll wait a little bit. All right, let me see if I have any questions from you guys. Because I think this topic is important. If he's indeed removed, I don't know how Xi Jinping is going to coordinate this war against Taiwan. I mean, he has lost the most how to say the leader, the PLA leader who has the most prestige in the PLA. So what I've heard is that officers above the ranks of colonel and above are not very happy with Xi Jinping's plan for the war. However, junior officers and also servicemen, soldiers, they are more loyal to Xi Jinping. That seems to be the division within the PLA. I mean, that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true. And I also heard, this is good information for you guys to know. I think it was on May 25th. Someone who is connected with the Central Theater Command, the PLA Central Theater Command, revealed to the Epoch Times in an interview that since the start of the military exercise around the Taiwan island, after 3 days after William Lai was inaugurated, the Central Theater Command now they began sounding the charge buckle. Buckle. Is that how you say it? Basically it's a bell that they ring at midnight to start some kind of preparation or exercise. But they began start the training or the exercise or some kind of exercise or drills at midnight at the Central Theater Command. The Central Theater Command is one of the 5 major theater commands, and it's stationed outside Beijing, and is primarily responsible for protecting the capital city. And the person who mentioned this who said this also said that right after Taiwan election in January, every household in that area, I think Hebei, outside Beijing, received emergency kits as preparation, because they believe that in the event of a conflict, Beijing and Hebei would be the first target. And then he said, because of these midnight drills, the PLA soldiers, at least at this theater command, weren't very happy. They were not happy. It's their sleep time. So that's what I heard. Okay, let's see. Can someone give me an update on the vote again? How many votes do we have? Do I have 200? Is it still 90-10? Maybe buckle. How do you say this word? I know what it means. 87% yes. Okay, 167. bugle. Bugle. It's a war horn. Yeah, it's a war horn, but it's bugle? Bugle. Okay, no. Yeah, bugle. I said Chinese have problems pronouncing vowels. It's like you. Do you say you? Do you say ah? You know. All right. I'm still struggling. Anyways, let me see if people have questions for me. From Ryan Thornton, too late. Do you think that she is going to make the same mistake as Putin by using only yes men like Shao Yigu instead of realist military staff making the decision? I think as dictators, he has there a dictator who really liked really smart people, or have they ever used people who are smarter than them? I don't think so. So the other thing I've heard is, I don't even remember the source. I always try to give you the source, but I've heard that there are a lot of really talented, like mid-level or upper mid-level PLA officers who have lost hope, and so they're just asking to retire because and so the smart people are leaving, and then you have um, you're stuck with the loyal ones who are clueless about fighting a war. Okay, so Moonwalker, Lei, do you think she is superstitious that believes in these prophecies and other superstitions the general elder population believing? He is generally superstitious. He's very superstitious, not just ordinarily superstitious. Actually, CCP leaders, all, even the ones before him, before she, were all very, very superstitious. I heard that Jiang Zemin, right? He was responsible for the persecution of Falun Gong, and later he was staying at home trying to copy like Buddhist scriptures uh, to for his sin. But what's the point? It's the CCP is still persecuting Falun Gong now. So as you are killing more people, you are copying Buddhist scriptures. It does not atone your sin. But see, that just shows you they're all very, they believe in the supernatural, spiritual aspect. Um, Somebody asked me, Lei, do you think the CCP will forcefully take back Taiwan anytime in the next 5 years? Yes. If you watched my program over the weekend, was it Tuesday? I don't remember. Probably over the weekend. And it was, the prediction was before Taiwan will not have the next election. And that's January of 2028. So that means CCP will likely to take over Taiwan, before the end of 2027. So that's less than 5 years. That's 4 years. Somebody said Hitler until the Russia invasion. To answer the question, is there a dictator who promoted people who are smarter than them? And so I think you're saying Hitler until the Russia invasion. Yes. Fractal art, Lei, considering what we know now, how fast would the process take for them to go for it? It depends on what the West, I mean, we need to ask ourselves that question. The CCP shouldn't have the leisure or the luxury to make that decision. I mean, the question should be asked to Joe Biden or the EU leaders. How much do we allow them to be prepared to launch a war? Do we allow them to launch a war in the next couple of years? What can we do to stop him from attacking Taiwan? I mean, we should stop a war before it happens. It's too late after it already takes off. I mean, already happens. So I think we need to ask ourselves that question. Oh, I have super chat from Digital Formosan. Believe me, English is the easiest among all European languages. Do you speak Spanish? Canadians are supposed to speak French. Yes, I learned French. I love French. My professor said that he would give me an A plus if my college had an A plus system because he couldn't believe a Chinese would speak French so well as a second foreign language. But I forgot most of it. Sadly, I do not speak Spanish. Microsoft is trying to relocate all of its AI researchers out of China. Yes, I heard that, but they need to watch out. We need to watch out. They need to vet these AI researchers. I'm not saying these people are spies, but they have families in China. What if CCP give pressures on their family and force them to do something? I mean, these are the risks of bringing these AI researchers out of China. Why would Microsoft do that? John S. Lei, is your Taiwan takeover prediction based on Biden's re-election? No, it has nothing to do. Uh, it has nothing to do with what happens on the U.S. side. It's the CCP's plan. It's CCP's plan is to launch a Taiwan takeover before the next Taiwan election. That's its plan. But whether or not that will happen, of course, depends on what happens on this side. Those two are separate. I have not combined them. I don't know. I cannot predict if Trump wins, what would happen, or if Biden wins, what would happen. I have not started thinking about that question yet. A vegan T-Rex. Can ordinary Chinese citizen protest take down the CCP regime before anything happens in Taiwan? Yes, they can, but they're quickly dismantled and dispelled. I mean, small scale protests happen every day now on the ground. I mean, you see protests, break out here and there. They're usually over financial matters. They're usually over, real estate investments that they lost or money they can't take out of bank or pay cuts or retirement benefits not received in full. I mean, financial matters. But you see protests here and there every day across China. But whether or not they will converge and become a major protest, we don't know. Okay, all right, 200. All right, let's see. Gen X 1964, Lei, is accurate to say CCP China is similar to Nazi Germany because both are ethno-fascist state with a socialist communist disguise? I think the CCP is more evil because um, I mean they both are evil. I mean the Nazis' persecution of Jews, right? But at least I don't want to sound like I'm justifying. I'm giving a Nazi's justification, but at least it's open. It's open about it. But the Chinese are secretly persecuting people based on their religious beliefs. They're denying it, but they're mass murdering people and then made a huge profit from them. So they're making money from their persecution of dissidents by orchestrating, the most hideous crime in human history, organ harvesting. They murder healthy, innocent people for their organs and made a huge fortune. I think on that note, they're much worse than the Nazis. Um, okay, I got a Booyah 360 report. Hi, do you feel China may invade during the election transition if a GOP candidate wins the election? Are they prepared? Um, I no, I don't think so. I read it somewhere. Somebody said that it's not going to be before the election or during the election because there's a reason because they anticipate the CCP anticipate that this election will cause turmoil domestically in the U.S. because of the political division, and that is already very good for the CCP. So they don't want to spoil that. From their perspective, that's what they anticipate. So that's what I always call on Americans. Do not fight each other. We have a common enemy. We should not be. We could have different political views, but we should be united. Whoever is elected, we should respect the decision. So by the majority. So I think the CCP will be quietly preparing for its war while observing how the election in the U.S. will turn out. It's anticipating turmoil and further political division in the U.S. Okay. Sue Chen. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sue. No questions for me? Thank you for the generosity. Thank you. Let's see. Any other questions? Okay. I have a question. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Ruku. Rurkoe. How do you pronounce this? Ruku? Ruku. Hi, Lei. Please make a session on China's goals in Central Asia, energy supplies like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. China's goal in Central Asia. Yeah, I must tell you, it's so difficult for me to decide on my topics. I said in my newsletter that I used to have a rhythm to follow in deciding, topics that I cover. Some are economic, some are CCP politics, some are military development, some are social. I used to try to cover everything. Now, from what I see on the ground, like things are so chaotic in China right now, and it's very hard to follow. If you want to talk about China's economy, I mean, it's just so dire, and I don't even know. You try to show numbers, but I don't even know if those are applicable or meaningful anymore. But everything that I look at, I mean, if you look at it, it doesn't matter how you follow Chinese news or China news or Chinese politics. Two main themes dominate. They are dying economy and war against Taiwan. Those two are the two dominant themes related to China. So that's why, and then the dying economy is just very sad because you see how it affects ordinary people's lives. So you see it's just very sad, people jumping off the bridges, suicide rate skyrocketing, and then war, and everything has centered around war preparation. So I feel like I've lost that rhythm. um, yeah. Okay. I will pick one question. Anyone? That seems to be all. I reached the bottom. Okay. All right. That seems to be all. Okay. Okay. Here's one. Oh, I got questions. Long Dong Wang. Hi, Lei. How much influence would she have with Kim Jong Un to convince North Korea to initiate a conflict on the Korean Peninsula to distract the world from an imminent invasion of Taiwan? He has done that. I mean, look at North Korea's behavior. But the question is the price tag. Kim Jong Un isn't dumb. I mean, he's going to ask for a hefty amount of money to play along. So the question is now it's a matter. It's not a question of the if. It's a question is how much. How much money is Xi Jinping willing to give North Korea to Kim Jong Un for him to do that? And Xi Jinping, money is tight. If you look at Chinese economy, so yeah, so it's a question of how much, at what price tag. Um, Jason Angle, why don't you cover the bipartisan trips from America to Taiwan more often? But a lot of people have already covered that. I try not to cover the same thing if others have already, I try to give you information that you couldn't get elsewhere. If mainstream media are already talking about something, then I try not to repeat after them. Do you think China and CCP can survive? From Michael Harrington. Do you think China and the CCP can survive if they fail to take Taiwan? No, they cannot. I mean, they can temporarily take over Taiwan, but internally it will be very shaking. I think. Actually, this is funny. Maybe on Saturday I'll talk about this. I read it. Some princelings are already trying to setting up for Xi Jinping to fail. They intentionally encourage him to go to war with Taiwan, with the idea of let him fall miserably. So that's what I heard today. So you have that angle, coming from the princeling. Yeah. All right. There's never a dull moment. All right. Lei, Jack, how long does China recover after the CCP? That's a good question. So this Saturday, I want to talk about. I've always asked this question. That is, what will happen after the CCP collapse? Will China break up into several states? Or what would happen? So I will address that this Saturday. I've already prepared. I want to talk about that this Saturday. So that's a very good question. All right. Last question. Jason Engel. I read The Economist's daily. They never cover the bipartisan trips here. Really? Oh, okay. All right. See, it's hard for me to, I mean, I can do that, but I don't know how much value does that offer people, because I would think people in Taiwan should report that, because you have Americans going to Taiwan, and then people in Taiwan should know firsthand, what happened in Taiwan, right? I would, but I'll keep that in mind. All right. Never a dull border. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me. Uh, okay. All right. I think that's it. Thank you very much. I'll see you Saturday. Bye bye.